Pretty good, actually.
Good.
Good spirits. The body isn't moving too good. It's got some joints that are a little sore, but I feel good.
Recording in progress.
I told my wife, if I work down here, I may have to have everybody every morning put on a name tag. They can take it off at noon time. I'm going to put it back out at my age, you know. I caught it for a second. You know what I mean? That split second, you know. But, yeah.
The kids have a game called headbands where they put a word, they have this plastic headband and they put a word on there and then people gotta try make them say that word.
Yeah.
But I could give you them headbands if people
Right,
write
there
their
you
name
go.
on them.
No.
I'm gonna start admitting people into the room, if that's okay, on the recording.
I think it makes
Excellent.
good sense for keeping minutes.
Probably.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. On tonight's agenda, we have our update with our interim police chief, Lieutenant Abel. We're going to discuss the reshuffling of liaison assignments for the Board of Selectmen. We're also going to meet with Frank Volpe. He's our health officer, and we had also hired him as our animal control officer, but that seemed to fall through the cracks somewhere and he never got communicated back to. So he's coming in at 6. And then old and new business. So Mike, did you have anything that we can keep on the public record that you'd like to share?
If you feel it's appropriate, we could talk about some, then there was some talk about potential incentives. If you feel like that should be public, we can do that.
Jim?
I have no objection.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever
Yeah.
you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And then there's some stuff that I do have a non-public for a couple little things after, but.
Okay.
I'll leave if you guys want to go to.
Yeah, no, we're in public session right now, so, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't know you
No,
I didn't know you were gonna be here.
That's
I
sort of.
apologize. I think some of we've had some conversation about ways we can attract people and maybe retain people. You'll notice number one is more like a sign-on bonus for hiring, because right now that's seems to be our most important focus, is
Okay.
hiring new people. So that's why it landed as my number one right now.
Yep.
Many businesses, not even outside of law enforcement, are offering sign-on bonuses to attract candidates. Example, Walmart Distribution Center is offering up to $23 an hour, a $3,000 sign-on bonus. That's one example.
Yeah.
Other communities, as you know, have been offering sign-on bonuses. Marlboro PD, 6,000. Hills, Hinsdale, 10,000.
Mhm.
Many agencies are around 6,000 to 10,000 right now. So that's why I put down 6,000. I thought that was a fair number. The hash marks kind of indicate when they would get paid out.
Okay.
If we were to put on a sign-on bonus for a new certified, so having a certified officer come over, 2,000 upon completion of their FTO, which is usually fairly rapid for a seasoned officer. 2,000 upon completion of one year, and 2,000 upon completion of their second year. So it's not like you're giving them $6,000 day one and then they're walking out of here in 8 months with $6,000.
Yeah.
New hire uncertified officer, 2,000. I think it's kind of a competitive area to be in completion of their probationary year. So usually it takes, the first year of an officer is a 1-year probationary period. And if they complete that period, they become considered a full-time employee of the town of North Switch, and at that point, usually on their own.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I put down there. Shift differential was one that I thought might be attractive to keep somebody once they're here and they're getting paid a little bit more money than the baseline for the not so pleasant hours or desirable hours.
Okay.
I haven't come up with totals for that, but I would imagine it would go somewhere from 50 cents to $1.25 an hour or something like that.
Okay.
But we can hash that out a little bit. 3 is a physical fitness testing incentive. And the reason I have that there is part of our requirement to stay a certified police officer in the state of New Hampshire is every 3 years we have to pass the physical fitness testing requirement set by the Police Engine Trainings Council.
Okay.
With that being said, most officers nowadays maintain gym membership. There's a cost for that. Part of that is personal, part of that is I have to keep this to be a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
So I put down what I thought was a fair annual cost to a gym membership. Some are a lot more. I don't think you're gonna find, you might find something less, but that's, a figure I put in there. I know I paid $40 a month for my gym membership, so that doesn't even cover my annual.
Yep.
And if they pass it annually, they get the stipend, $350 bonus. If they don't take it that year, they don't get it.
Okay.
And if the third year they're required to take it and they pass it, they get it.
Mm-hmm.
But they have a potential to earn an extra $350 a year to offset their gym membership.
Yeah.
And, long-term, short-term disability, obviously that falls back on the administration here. I know it's been brought up before. Right now, we don't offer that as a town, as a benefit. People are asking me about that benefit. Does the town offer X? I know we don't. I currently carry it myself through Aflac, and it costs me $30 a week out of my thing.
Okay.
Just to be fair. Step raises, we know that could maybe move up higher in the scale here of incentives. But I think if we can, going forward, if we can kind of point people in a direction and give them an idea of what they're gonna be making from year to year, and it takes away some of the unknowns. Are we gonna get a raise this year? Are we gonna get a COLA this year? Are we not gonna get either?
Mm-hmm.
Step raises there, and I also feel it's kind of an incentive for them to stay. They know where they're going. They know that, hey, if I can get to year 5, you know, I'm gonna be here. I don't have to guess where I'm gonna be in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So potentially a retention tool.
Okay.
And this one's been mentioned in the past, insurance stipend for not taking the town of Milcho's health insurance. We all know the cost of that is pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying you pay them 100%. I think there's a balance of, hey, we're gonna pay you, $4,000 or $5,000, or it could be a percentage. If you have a single family or a single person versus a family plan, there's a different payout for not taking it. Again, now those numbers would have to be hashed out.
What's that?
I just have a question on the last one.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, because I've seen that done in places, and one of the things that always came up was, do you offer it to somebody who takes it, and then they walk around with no insurance?
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, or do you take it because they have an alternative insurance through a spouse or some other way? That's a question you have to look at too.
Right.
Because you really don't want to encourage people not to have.
Well, absolutely not. I don't think that's my intention.
No, I know it's
I would
not.
hope it'd be the latter, what you said.
Yeah.
My spouse is, or my significant other is carrying me on the insurance, so I don't really need this insurance.
Right.
It's a savings to the town, in a sense, for not taking the insurance or electing out of insurance, and the employee gets a little kickback for that, and meaning, it's an incentive to stay.
Okay, what about, I'm gonna add an item number 7, what about like life insurance?
Yeah, we currently have a small life insurance. I think we contribute a small percentage, a couple of dollars a year per employee, and we get like a $25,000 life insurance or something. I'd have to look it up.
I mean, I was thinking something in the range of $100,000 to
Right, that's something more
$200,000,
significant.
something that would actually pay to a family that would
Right.
help them through the hard times.
Sure. Yeah, I think anytime you can secure somebody's financial picture in a time of loss is a good thing. We do have, just so everybody's in the open about it, there are certain benefits for first responders that die on the job, specifically law enforcement. There's federal and state money. It's not a lot, but it is some money. So there is a little bit of a benefit there. There's been programs that are being pushed forward now to try to increase the benefit for firefighters, EMTs, and police officers who lose their life in the line of duty. I don't know those numbers off the top of my head, and they still have to be applied for. So your spouse or your widow, or however the scenario goes, would have to apply for these benefits. But certainly the town stepping up and adding a benefit is, in my opinion, good in these times.
So have any of the, I'm not sure how many associations the PD is involved with, but do any of them offer any of these disability insurances, life insurance at a discounted rate?
None that I'm aware of. Now, that doesn't mean they don't exist. Just off the top of my head, I'm not aware of that. I've been a member of the Hampshire Police Association on and off throughout the years, depending on where I send my membership money in or not. I don't believe there's any death benefits, but I know they help out spouses when needed, and they also, without being a specific benefit, like if I got cancer and I needed to go to Boston 3 times a week, they would give my family gas money. If my spouse needed to stay in a hotel room for 3 weeks while I was being critically treated in Boston, they may pay for the hotel room. So that's part of the benefit of being a member of that association.
What's the annual cost of being a member of the police association?
So at the patrol level, it's $25 a year.
$25 a year, that's
Yeah.
kind of minimal.
Right, and that was one of the other benefits I was gonna write on here, is that, the agency pay for each officer's membership annually. Some agencies do that, their entire roster gets a membership to the New Hampshire Police Association at the cost of $25 a head. At one point, I went to Chief Carpenter with that, retired Chief Carpenter, and he said, we'll find the money in the budget to do it, so let's just do it if you want to. And so that's something we were about to put into place anyway. There's also the New Hampshire Chiefs Association, there's also the International Chiefs Association, both which usually chiefs are members of, and Chief Carpenter was, and obviously now he's not. And the next chief should be, because a lot of resources and information comes out of those associations.
Yep.
So those are some of the retention and hiring incentives and benefits that I can see that would be helpful.
Now, had you had a chance to look up an idea of like the step raises, like to have an example for us?
I haven't done enough studying to put together a comprehensive pay scale.
Okay.
And I've looked today, I've looked some other days, but I'm not quite there yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I need
Because
some
we've
other-
kind of reviewed it a little bit, and it's been presented in the past, and even I think Mr. Butcher had brought something to the board, I'd like to say in February of this year, that had to do with pay scales, like even like townwide,
Yeah.
like so you can adopt
Right.
like all the different levels for all employees. So I just have to dig through all my notes and try to find that. But anything, police associated that you can give us, like for surrounding towns, any of that type of information would be helpful.
I'll definitely be working on it. I spoke with somebody today that's supposed to email me their pay scale tonight.
Okay.
And I should have that in the morning, so there's gonna be other agencies I'm gonna reach out to that have pay scales, and all of them do, and then we can kind of do a comparison.
Okay.
Yeah.
And see if we can find some.
Well, that
kind of common ground.
kind of begs the question also, and I'm not familiar with what the officers are getting paid, but what is a starting officer getting paid in town here?
Right now, we're starting at 44,000.
Okay.
But that's a brand new unseasoned officer, uncertified officer.
Uncertified,
Right, brand new.
okay. Okay,
And again, like that 44, I think we had given Chief Carpenter the flexibility, like once they completed the academy, there was like $4,000 jump essentially.
Yeah.
So it bumped up to 48, and then there was another, I can't remember the metric, but where there was another, like jump to get them like up over 50, close to 52, I think,
Right.
yeah.
relatively quick.
Yeah, the last time I spoke with him about it, my recollection, and it was, Yeah, you are correct. I think it was 40 or 49,000 once they graduate the academy, and then once they became a solo officer, there was some
Yeah.
help on paid for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna just state for the record that I did a little research behind that, and I'm gonna say that my research shows that the average officer in New Hampshire, average, is getting $60,000 a year. That's, and I don't know that we're even offering anything close to that on average.
Yeah, well, our average is gone now, but,
Well, we don't have a good comparison database.
Bert, we're beating the average.
We're meeting the
we're
average.
currently beating the average.
You need a number of people to get an average.
We're working on it. It's a good thing we all can still chuckle, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, I honestly don't know what our average was 6 months ago.
Mm.
Don't know that
We
figure.
could probably find that out from Roger.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I probably could figure it out myself as well, but I don't know what the average is, but right now, it just seems to me like the numbers are changing very fast because of the climate, and they're on an upward trend, to be
Huge.
fair with everybody. It's just the way it's going.
Mhm.
And so that's why I'm trying to get more up-to-date pay scales, not something that's 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I need something that people are operating off of now. The person I spoke to today, they just updated their pay scale within the 2021 year.
Okay.
And so that's a benefit.
Let me ask this question. I know we're having difficulty both in terms of recruiting and retention. What would you need to be able to offer a certified officer, i.e. steal them from another town? What would you have to be able to offer that guy to come on board?
Well, I think obviously pay is gonna be one of them. And pay's not everything, we know that.
I understand
So
that.
pay's gonna be that, you know. Second, which we don't have, is a professional facility. And it's very high on the list, and I don't mean to keep harping on it, but the reality is, when people walk into an IPD for an interview, they're not impressed. Right? And so we're trying to impress people when they come in. We want to hire people, we want to hire good candidates. So pay being very high on the scale, and probably number 1, 2 is we need to have a professional facility. 3, people want to have comparable benefits to other towns they're looking at, some of the ones we just mentioned. You know, the shift differential, the fitness stipend, could be educational benefits, could even be tuition reimbursement. So all those come into play, short-term, long-term disability, and all the other incentives that we talk about. So they're looking for a very strong benefit package. And then I think in today's world, people are also looking for flexibility. And in the police department, under the structure of public safety, flexibility is a hard thing. So we make it up in other places if we can. Because usually if somebody's working, you know, a shift that's 8 hours, and they, you know, I want to leave at 7:30 today, and there's nobody left, I'm just gonna bug out. Well, we don't really do that, right, in public safety. So that flexibility is hard. So we try to be flexible where we can, and that includes also a good benefit package of time off, paid time off, whether it's PTO. Our time off package seems pretty competitive.
Okay.
Trying to find those numbers. Because I know that we had given Chief Carpenter some tools to work with to get that 3 to 5 year officer. And I'd hate to say any numbers right now, but you know, it was I think starting right about where your average number was. So, yeah.
And I agree. I think when we had that 4-minute meeting last time I was there before I got called away, you know, I mentioned that I think if we are looking at hiring full-time certified officers to come over to Node Switch, I think we're gonna have to go into negotiations with them and not just say, this is what you're getting.
Yeah.
And I know there needs to be a cap. I'm not saying you can pay somebody $400,000. I know, right? But we're gonna have to negotiate with them to some degree. And I know in the past, usually in municipal, it's like, this is the pay, and either accept the job or don't. But I think we're in a different time.
Yeah.
I know when I started, like, that was the pay. If you can't accept it, we just can't pay you anymore,
Yeah.
sorry.
Um,
But I think we're in a different time. And then maybe a pay scale down the road takes that away. We don't have to worry about that.
I don't know if this is off limits or not, or it needs to go into non-public, but can we talk a little bit about what the sheriff's department is doing for you?
Yeah, I won't get specific into the absolute hours of coverage because
Yeah.
it could be considered somewhat
It's sensitive.
sensitive. So far, they've been covering a certain shift,
Yeah.
and they've been handling the calls that they receive, start to finish. There's been good communication so far between the sheriff and myself, and at this moment, there's been very little confusion or any troubles that surfaced. We're about a month in now since they started, 3 to 4 weeks. This is the 4th week. So overall, it's going well. But part of my non-public today was to talk to you a little bit about that.
Okay.
But it's been positive.
Well, yeah.
Do you have any questions, Jay?
Yeah, I have a bunch more questions, but I think we have to wait for non-public.
Okay. All right, so you wanna make a motion, Bert?
I move that we go into non-public, 91A, I think is the appropriate. Let's see.
A and B?
A and B.
Sorry?
Do I need to read that?
No.
Okay.
Is there a second?
For the people on the Zoom recording, I'm gonna end it. I will start it back up when we're out of the non-public.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
How will we know
Aye.
when you're coming back?
On it a
Just
little
gonna
bit,
text John.
yeah, and the thing was written,
Oh.
to give you guys all the flexibility you need,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, no, he just expounded and charged us $300. Just typical. God.
Recording in progress.
Yeah, it's supposed to hit about 6 o'clock.
Hey, Frank.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Hello.
So, we did seal the minutes to that non-public, and there were 3 decisions reached.
Did you text?
Hi,
Yeah, I
Jim.
did.
Good, how are you doing? You're the gentleman with the kennel, right?
Yes,
How's it going?
yes. It's catching on now.
Catching on.
Business is picking up. So
Oh,
it's
good.
pretty good.
I wanna take a ride up there, 'cause
Anytime. Road's done.
I remember that.
Don't have to worry about dirt going onto the state road.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah.
So I had met up with Frank down at the swim meet out in Milford, and we were kind of chatting about things. And it seems that somehow in the shuffle, his role as animal control officer got lost and things. So I asked him to come in and, let us know if he's still interested in taking on that role. It's a position that we have budgeted and that we haven't filled in at least 2 years that I know of, maybe more. And I feel like he should work with the police department, like in that role, and I didn't know if that was correct or not, so it was just sort of clarification on like his points of contact, and so I guess first, are you still willing?
Sure.
All right.
Definitely.
He's our health officer as well.
We were confused at the time.
Yeah.
How's animal control going? I'm like, great, no one's hired yet. He's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So I thought that was, but
That's
yeah,
my
so.
mistake.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. That's all right. You can call and talk to Mike tomorrow.
Yeah, I did catch Mike before he left and asked, because I remembered this is a part of the PD budget and they oversee.
Mhm.
So he said he obviously has had his hands full
Yeah,
and hasn't had time to look into this
yeah.
animal control, but I think it would,
Was it when you were on the board that we?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I think
Okay.
it would. How does it usually work?
Well, usually the animal control is under a PD.
Yeah.
And in a case like this, I'm not sure of the details you talked about, but the person gets paid for doing the animal control work on almost like it's like a piecemeal basis, you know, have calls, they get paid. I would assume that since he has a kennel, if you incarcerated somebody who was a four-legged critter on the loose,
Bring him to my own kennel.
it's, yeah, his kennel would get the boarding fee from the person who owned the dog. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
So-
is there a town kennel? We were kind
No.
of discussing that behind it.
Isn't
there one at
No,
the
everything gets,
landfill?
I was previously taken to Swansea. The time that I've picked up stray dogs, I've always called the police department.
Yeah.
They send an officer and they take them.
So then they're not still behind the.
No, I don't believe that's been operational for a while.
There's a cat, somebody built one years ago.
Yeah,
and
but
it's
it's-
done, but I mean,
Oh,
you
she's
wouldn't wanna
built.
put an animal on there. It'd be-
No, that would be cruelty to
You know,
animals.
okay. Yeah, I'm very interested in the job, but like I said, we haven't discussed any type of details or pay hours, anything like that. No one's,
Yeah.
no one's discussed.
And I meant to look up the, what we had approved in the budget. It may be in your book, Jay.
Because I have
Animal
spoken
control.
to the chief also in Ringe, but he's retiring soon.
Yeah,
And I'm also on the list there when Larry retires to.
take on that role with them.
Ringe.
Okay,
So something we can look in the future is maybe combining the two towns together, maybe having like a mutual call.
yeah,
I've seen animal control officers do multiple towns.
yeah. I don't know about combining them, like it'd be combined through
Yeah.
you,
Well, I'm
but,
saying, because
yeah.
Ringe has a, I mean.
But they'd have
he's
their
been there for
budget
52
and,
years, so I
yeah.
mean, that would be someone that I'd go to and talk to and say,
yeah,
you know, your vehicle, your pet, you know, things like that, they would know.
Yeah, you'd probably have to set up independent agreements with each town.
I mean, we have a welfare officer that does, I think, 4 towns.
Yeah.
Well, I just figured, I was gonna say, do health officer in both towns too, you know, so maybe
Yeah.
something we can look at in the future to try to
Yeah.
combine them, because
Yeah.
I now have 4 jobs in 2 towns.
Yeah.
Okay, and both of them equal up to about a half part-time job at Tractor Supply. So what I'm looking for is something a little more steady, and maybe something I
Yeah.
can dip my fingers into some sort of benefits,
mhm,
is what I'm looking for.
okay.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was on a by critter
Cause this was a
basis
stipend.
or a regular stipend on an on-call basis. I don't remember.
And like I said, when I first asked about it at the time, they said, you know, the position wasn't being filled, so
Yep.
I wasn't given any more information about it than that, even then.
I don't know enough about it to comment.
All of it's what I've seen is kind
I
of,
guess
he's got enough room for
I do have a
thousands
nice
of
setup
horses.
Yeah.
to, I actually, cage kennels are coming in hopefully this weekend. They'll go in that building, there's 4 more kennels that, for dogs.
It's funny how those two are kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
together.
Yeah, like
ish.
horses, cows.
Like how they
Each
total
one.
them out, no, the
Three stall barn.
health and
Oh.
animal, and then they kinda have a total, like,
Yeah.
you know, there's two subtotals and
Yeah.
then a total.
That was the thing we did.
That is something.
We advertised for that.
So what are we dealing with?
What we're seeing here is whoever put together the budget last year combined total health and animal control.
So they're already together.
And he's already health.
Yeah,
That's an illogical combination.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't,
I found some things in there too, but
I mean, I could.
yeah,
Some
and
of it
it's not
there-
really truly combined, it's two different things.
Two
but
line
then
items.
They
They
have
just give
that
a total
total
for the
together,
two.
like for the two.
okay, well,
They are in separate categories.
okay, so what is the budget for the,
The animal control
Animal
was
control.
97
$97?
100
$9,700.
and 30.
Okay,
That's the total.
so is that a stipend or?
No, the wages are 62.40 with all the FICA and Medi, and then there's money budgeted for vets, state lab, humane society, supplies, phone.
So it's like 6240 was the stipend
Yeah.
amount.
Okay, so I guess I'm just confused. Is it an on-call
Well,
basis as how
That-
long it takes to
wasn't-
chase down
It
the
wasn't
critter?
written out, and that's something I had spoken with Frank, is that we're gonna have to come up with
Yeah,
how this is
we'll-
gonna work. Yeah,
Work it out and see, you know, however we.
Well, I
get
think-
together.
yeah.
Well, I think
Jim
we need to
just,
discuss
a lot
it
of times it's
in
piecework.
it
details.
Yeah.
is piecework.
Oh.
You
This
go
much for a
month and
dog,
then I
this
get
much for a
full.
hog.
Or you can go nuts, but, so we got what, 6,000 and change on the labor charge, and then a total of 9 something.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, do we want to do it on a per critter basis or an hour?
That has to be worked
Well,
out, but it has to, I believe it would have to go through the PD.
Yeah, I think what I could do is I could,
From what I
Together
understood,
with-
is even in them, they said you answer to the chief of police, so
Hmm.
the budget did come out of
Right.
the police budget,
Which
from what
is-
I understood.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
let me go after this thing, okay?
Yeah.
And we'll get something together.
all right. So we know you're interested.
I'm interested.
We'd love to have
I
you
live in
do it.
town, I'm here.
What, we have $9,700 budgeted for the position, whether it's hourly, piecemeal, or whatever. We're gonna have to talk to Mike Abel about it and our administrator and figure out how it's been dispersed in the past, and then we can kind of let you know.
yes,
I think
yeah.
that's
Now,
exactly
Yeah.
right.
Do you do Ringe?
Animal control, no.
No,
I'm the
okay.
health officer and the zoning
Oh,
officer.
okay,
for
okay.
Ridge.
Let me have your phone number.
I was 781.
I mean, I think that's the best we can do for this evening.
Yeah, yeah.
24.
Well, he was already-
69.
It was already approved.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
It's just the other formalities, yeah.
So he's a health officer, and what we want to do is we want to look at establishing the animal control
Right,
Correct.
under the umbrella of the police department.
right, and define it a little more closely.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you know, if you get a hoarding situation, you're gonna need both, right, health and animal control. Like a hoarding plan.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I
Okay.
gotta love it.
Yeah, and it seems like it would, it may be a very small thing, but take a small thing off of the PD's plate.
Yeah, Yeah.
Who gets called now if there's
Yeah,
This is
an animal problem?
yeah, now Mike, yeah.
yeah, I mean, Mike doesn't need to be chasing stray dogs.
No.
Okay, cool. Okay, thank you.
So I don't have any issues, like I said, working with the police department.
Okay,
I told you before, I worked for 12 years in Mass. I was a deputy sheriff, I worked at Middlesex Sheriff's Office in the prison for 12 years, so I've been there.
okay.
So I can deal with the
Watch
public,
how you
law
say.
enforcement, whoever. It was funny when my kids were little, we'd walk in the store and, you know, you'd walk away, Dad, is that one of your friends from jail? Yeah, shit. People look at it. The other way.
So thank you.
So.
Thanks for coming down, Frank.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
Yeah, so
We'll
I
get
guess,
together.
you know, Jim will be in touch and,
Okay.
you know, we'll start putting together the animal control program.
That sounds good. I'm easy to find.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right,
thank
no
you.
problem. Thank you for having me in. I appreciate you considering me for it. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Thank you. All right,
Have a good night.
Nice, Frank.
Good night.
Good night.
All right. Lou's been pretty patient here.
Yeah. What's that?
Lou's been pretty patient.
Did you have something for us, Lou, this
I'll
evening?
just wait till you have your business.
I saw lightning.
Okay.
Did you?
Well, we could be.
Yeah, because we were looking at going into another, like one more non-public. We just wanted to get to Frank because he had come in
Okay.
to speak to us at 6.
I was reading in the transcript about the disbursement of money from the federal government,
Mm-hmm.
and figured that this town was probably gonna be coming into about, I would think close to $600,000.
$564,591
Okay,
was on the agenda.
that's for New Ipswich?
That's New Ipswich.
How much was it?
$564,591.
That's interesting, because I was going by the number that they quoted for Peterborough, and then did a comparison on
This is what they printed in the ledger, whether or not it's.
today.
This is dated 22nd of July, last Thursday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, anyway, I was thinking that, yeah, a portion of that money, in all fairness, we have a number of places where the roads into some smaller developments are actually being taken care of by the owners. They were never made into public roads to be taken care of by the town. And since we've got I was thinking about earmarking, what might be an idea of earmarking some of that money and looking at some of the old ones, and then use that money to bring those roads into the town maintained road status. And the reason for it is that over the years, in some of these places, I would imagine, and this would be a decision that if you gave it to your road commission, or to take a look at it, let them make the determination as to, who is most needy or who would benefit the most from it, most bang for the buck.
Well, there is some of those private roads the people don't want to be town maintained roads.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the ones that may want to
Okay.
be maintained. And they just haven't over the years. And every one of those people have been paying towards the total cost of maintaining roads for the rest of the town. So it's only fair that, in my opinion, and that may be my opinion only, that they should get some recognition with some of this
Okay.
extra money coming in.
Now, of that money, is there anything that is supposed to be used for, or is it just?
In fact, that was one of the items I was gonna bring up under new business, but we're into it now, so, you're actually asking two questions here. In the past, it has been the, selectman's position not to accept roads, but to ask the owners to petition the town to accept them. We went through that with Green Farm a year or two ago, and we've gone through it with a couple others. But for the most part, the selectmen in the past have felt that it was not in the town's best interest to assume responsibility for roads, particularly if they're in bad shape, because that means we need to then get the money to fix them. I'm not sure I fully agree with that position, but that has been the historic pattern that we've had. And there's studies on both sides that say, yeah, it's a good idea for the town to accept a road, and then there's a study on the other side that says it's not a good idea for towns to accept roads if they can avoid it. That's question number one. Question number two is the grant money that we're receiving, and I'm not even sure if this is the full amount or half the amount or whatever.
It's
half the amount, so we're gonna get the same amount again, which totals to over $1 million. There are some restrictions on how it can be used, but it's mostly to alleviate the damage done to the town economies, municipal economies, effectively due to the pandemic. And I have not seen the paperwork for the grant and how it's supposed to be used, but I believe there are some significant restrictions, and I think we need to study that before we commit to how that money is supposed to be dispersed. Because I believe there's also some issues with the schools that they are going to be short some significant monies this year due to a reduction of 150 students. I think you're aware of it.
Yeah.
So
That's COVID related too.
it's COVID related, so we may need to
It's
take.
a lot of districts around here, because what happened is people took their kids, the school shut down
Right.
effectively. They went online,
Yep.
and then people decided they weren't gonna go online. Maybe if they had 4 kids, you don't own 4 computers.
Right.
And so they homeschooled,
Exactly.
and the homeschool pulled them out.
But when that happened, we lost the funding from the state, which pays, I'm going to roughly say 50% of the school costs. And that's going to leave a shortfall in the budget this coming fall of $500,000, which is about the money they're going to be giving us. And it's either we make up that shortfall in additional taxes to the tune of $2 or $3 per thousand, or this money gets plowed right back into the schools.
I think on top of what you brought up, obviously we would have to see what it can be used for, but we also have to see if there's these infamous strings attached that'll make it cost us more in the next 30 years. you know
You're
what I
absolutely
mean?
right.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen the paperwork for it, and
Yeah.
all I have is this newspaper article that was not terribly explicit, and they sometimes get it wrong.
So how would we ever be notified of this? That it's available to us? And
Actually,
From what I
there was a similar
understand.
program last year, and I think the town got about a little over $1 million from that one also.
last
Not
year?
to,
And that
not to my
was-
knowledge, we didn't accept any money.
Well, there was a whole bunch of money that came in for, because they ended up paving Greenville Road, and that came from that money.
Oh, you're talking about block funds, but that's a different
Yeah,
animal.
and it was, that wasn't $1 million. We get, I believe it's only.
150,000.
150,000,
or
yeah.
something like that. That's not
Yeah,
how
be
we.
careful, Lou.
No, there was
Yeah.
something with the town getting $1 million, but I don't really quite remember. And
We
that
didn't.
might have been 2 years ago.
No.
I'm
I
not
have no
aware of it.
knowledge of it. And then Bert was on the board before
Yeah,
I
no.
was. And
We never saw that sort of money.
but I will say that I've heard of other towns already getting money deposited into their account. So I don't know if it's something that just comes automatically.
Or do we
and-
need to apply?
Or do we have to apply? So that'd be
Well,
something
we're gonna-
to
we'll
look
find
into.
out. And, you have to actually hold a hearing and accept grant money, so.
Mhm.
There's laws that cover that.
Yeah.
If it's above a certain amount, that amount is a lot smaller than what you just mentioned over there.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay.
We'll look into it. Like, anyway, nothing that we can decide right now. We just have to, see, because I believe it was even, when this was discussed previously, I don't know if it's this potential revenue, but Scott's previous position was that he didn't see that we should even go for any of the money because of all the strings that are attached, and we haven't suffered any true COVID-related.
Other than the shortfall, which really isn't the town, it's the
It's
school.
the school, yeah.
Perhaps
We
they can
but we have to
apply
make it
for
up in
their-
taxes one way or another.
But not
But
on
it's
our
not our
end. It'll be the
responsibility.
school to make it up.
Yeah, but I'm saying the overall taxes there.
Mr. Chairman?
Oh, sorry. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Sean. I'm not sure if it's appropriate for me to talk or not, so. But
Well, so we're having, I don't know if you would like to, like, if you want to speak as your position from the school board, or,
I can for a little bit. I would just suggest we look into that.
so this
because
is
I know
Mike
there's
Pellerito.
legislation
So,
in Concord to hold the enrollment numbers from the previous year before COVID. And some of that still might be outstanding, so I don't have answers or exact data for you, but I would just encourage us to go, you can reach out to, I can see what we have for latest data and get back to you, or if you guys can feel free to reach out to the SAU and see what we've learned as of late. But I believe there was some items going on in Concord to try and hold the enrollment numbers steady this year. So, but it's a risk issue worth talking about. It may happen, but we're not sure yet.
Okay, thank you.
Sean, can I make a comment on this matter?
One sec, so this is John Schlomwaffel, Sue, speaking now?
John Shelmore.
Yep, all right.
Yeah. So, with regards to what Lou says, I agree with Lou about the principle of the town. Should be taking over roads that are completed and are maintained and constructed to town standards. I would agree with that. I don't know about rebuilding them because I think that they should have been, maintained and turned over and accepted right away. But with regards to the school district, I would encourage the selectmen to very carefully look at that. And in part because if this is a multi-year availability of funds with a town that has a fairly low vaccination rate, and we see a growth in the Delta variant and other variants and increases in cases in the US, the school district could be very much facing the same situation next year, where parents pull their kids out this fall. That results in reduced enrollments, and that carries over to state funding also for next year. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay,
Good point.
thank you. All right, so,
I go to the
We'll just see.
SAU a phone call as a member of the trustees of trust funds. Okay?
Yeah.
So I will include if they know any status of what's going on in Concord.
okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Well, I think it ought to be pursued, but cautiously.
Well, we can look at what's there and gain knowledge. No, we're not committing to anything, just getting knowledge on what's coming at us.
Yep,
It's a good point. I mean, if somebody wants to give me money and then they put a lot of strings attached to it, I may come out the loser at the other end.
Yeah.
You know.
yep.
Yep.
All right,
Go ahead.
so we'll look into that.
Did you do the division of responsibilities, the changes?
No, not yet.
Are you planning on doing that today?
Potentially. So we have a couple of, it's starting to run on a little bit, so that maybe one
Okay.
that we
Yeah, I was just
kick the
curious
next week.
about that, that's
Yeah.
all.
Okay,
All right, good, thank you.
thank you, Lou. Did you have anything specific, Alan, that you wanted to contribute? No? Okay. So I'll make a motion to go into non-public, under 91A 3, Section 2, A and B.
Second that.
Are you coming back into session?
Yes, we will, yeah. Okay.
We're just gonna take a quick break, Michael, to get reconnected and, some other items. Give us
Okay,
about-
we're good.
Give us a couple of minutes,
Hey. I'm gonna have to read this.
like which way do you plug these HDMI cords in?
Oh, boy.
Okay, put this here. This is for you two guys.
Oh, Sean, don't forget to re-announce that we have that
I've worked
sidewalk
with these folks
next
before.
Tuesday, 4:30 for the
Okay.
building 2.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, thank you.
public. Accounting standards. Okay. Not gonna read this tonight.
So we did seal the minutes of that non-public session, and we did come to a decision. Decision, like, Jim will be our interim town administrator officially.
Thank you and welcome officially from me.
I look forward to it.
And
I
here,
look forward to completing it. So I
Thank
look
you.
forward to the end, okay, which is different, okay?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And I noticed on that agreement, did you go a little bit longer than the, like, 6 months? Or we can extend it up to,
You
Yeah,
could
we can
extend it if
extend
you
it,
wanted.
yeah.
On the other hand, if we were in the middle of December and you had a really good candidate, we could taper off and do
Yeah,
something, you know.
I mean, you know, the way the contract reads is you are hired at the pleasure of the
And
selectmen.
that's the way I wrote it,
And, you know, if we get tired of looking at you,
yeah. Okay, so the first thing, I just passed it out. This is, and like I started to say, one of the things that concerned me was last year, the balance sheet not getting done in a timely manner was probably one of the most significant reasons the tax bills were late. Okay, and as we discussed, we have to have the values from the Board of Assessors, and they're on track to getting that.
okay,
We have to have the minutes. We have to have, I forget the number of the form, but the 20-something. But anyway, we have to have a form that gives us the results of town meeting that goes into a portal the DRA has. I will check and make sure that's been done.
okay,
And like I said, we have to have a balance sheet, and we need to have an audit.
okay.
And so, I hadn't sensed that there was any audit going on, so I took the liberty Monday and I spoke to Jared Bartanian, who is the manager at Bachan Cloquet, who have been your auditors for a couple of years. Before that, I know you had several others. You had Melanson and Heath, and you had way back Plodzik and Sanderson, and there may have been another one thrown in there.
Yeah.
All good companies.
yeah, we've been changing about every 5 years to get a different set of eyes on the books.
And I had a good conversation with him, and he has given us a letter, an engagement letter, which comes out to will not exceed $16,000, which is on track with our budget. And it's on the 4th page, the next to the last paragraph, engagement, administration fees, and other. This is essentially the same letter that would have been signed a year ago. And should have been signed in January. But
Yeah, I don't recall ever, because it seemed like it was just taken care of,
it
like,
just happened.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I know that the rate was, much less, it almost was like we didn't pay for the full service from them. So like that reduced rate, I believe the number that we had spoken about was, like $5,000 was the most that we expended, but I don't know how accurate that is.
Well, what I did find was in last year,
Mhm.
there was about, I'm doing this from memory, but there was about $3,500 expended,
Yeah,
and then 11 or 12 was expended this year for last year's audit.
okay,
For actually, when I say last year's audit, the 2019 audit, okay.
yeah,
This is, we're looking at doing the 2020 audit,
okay,
and we're over halfway through the year. Okay,
Yeah.
so, this is consistent with budgeting going back.
Yeah, I don't think we should linger over this. I move that we ask the chairman and our current town administrator to sign the letter authorizing the services outlined.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. You wanna hang on to that, and I'll sign this one and hand this over to you.
Okay.
You guys wanna keep a copy of it, you know?
I'd like to read it, but
Okay. Transitioning is tough.
Jim, we're just gonna set the conveyor.
Hey, I'm older than Joe Biden. Leave that one alone.
He just sits at the desk and they bring him the paperwork.
Right. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so, one of the, and I'll sign this one here too. Okay. Do that. The trustees of trust funds are trying to go through and clean things up. And I'm a newbie on that. I was on it a million years ago when Gladys had big paper bags full of passbooks that every month used to go down to the bank. And they would dread her coming in, but now we do it a little more efficiently. But one of the things we looked at was, we got funds we're not paying money out on. The funds are there for a reason. I'm not talking capital reserve now. I'm talking about the Elizabeth Barrett School Fund, okay? I'm talking about all this other stuff that's sitting out there. So there's a bunch of little things we have to look at. But one thing we came up with was, there are two expendable, call them expendable capital reserves, expendable by the selectmen, for landfill closure. Oh, didn't we close it? In fact, you guys got the grass mowed on there recently. It looks good. The dump is closed. Why do we have $86,000 in change sitting there, okay, being held by the trustees for something that's closed, has 2 or 3 more payments to go on it? We make payments every year,
Yeah.
and every year we get some money back from the state to offset some of the payments. Okay?
Yeah.
And it's gonna be going in 2025 or something like that. What are we doing with this money? The reason the money was there was in the early stages of this, they needed to have a fund they could draw on to do the initial engineering and some testing and work and stuff like that. And then when they came up with the big contract for closing their landfill, that was a bond issue. So we're recommending that the selectmen put an article in the warrant just liquidating those funds and putting it into the general fund.
Okay, I'm trying to remember a conversation I had way back when with Dave and John about the closure of the landfill. I believe there are monitoring wells still out there, and those have to be tested yearly or some such. And the state was actually trying to push some of their testing requirements onto the town, and I don't think it ever happened, but I know it costs about $1,500 to $3,000 every year to test those
Oh, I know
wells?
about the testing.
Okay, okay.
I know about the
I
testing.
just wondered if those funds were
No,
being used in
That's a
that.
maintenance, that's a maintenance thing that would be in the, it's a- or it would be
That's
in
a
the
different budget item?
Yeah, these things,
Okay.
nothing's coming out of these. These are for capital expenditures. These would be for like designing something new for a landfill. We already got the landfill closed. These things have been just sitting here.
So there's been no
dormant.
funds expended?
It's like a dormant account.
So it's just, yeah, so there's been no action with that account
No.
for, okay.
So our recommendation, I mean, you can repurpose them to a whole nother purpose that you can have a capital reserve for, but that's messy.
Yeah,
The best thing to do is to move it back into
The general fund.
the general fund and then use it to offset taxes or for cash flow, or you can appropriate from your fund balance too. if you want
This
to.
needs to be done with a warrant article.
It needs to be done with a warrant article at the next town meeting, so
okay.
keeping that in mind, and I'm not sure what I'm gonna find in the computers and stuff like that, what I plan on doing is creating next year's warrant in the next week or two, okay?
Mhm.
It doesn't mean there's gonna be numbers in it, okay? But have all the articles there, and if you see a need for an article that comes up that's unique, we'll plug this thing in, we'll get this stuff put together. We can always put numbers in when we meet with the
We have a
board and
few
stuff.
that we've discussed,
Mhm.
should be on there.
Yeah, but I just wanted to mention that, and, you know, I'm not saying make a decision tonight,
Yeah.
but if you want me to, I'll go ahead and I'll get the language for how you liquidate one of those.
I think we should have a running list of all the warrant articles that we, one, are typical, and two,
We'll make that.
the add-ons.
Yeah, we'll come up with a draft warrant.
Yep,
You know,
okay.
Yeah, the other thing I wanna do now too is I wanna calculate the default budget. I never
Okay.
had to do that. I always worked for towns that had regular town meetings where they went and they killed each other if it took 2 nights until they resolved it. So I understand the rules, but I gotta go through the procedure.
Yeah, okay.
You know, as much as we can get done early.
Yep. No, I appreciate that.
God.
Yeah. 'Cause that was, one of the goals this year was to not be, behind in the budgeting. So, I like where you're going.
It's refreshing.
Christmas miracle coming early?
And
We'll
I-
see.
and I
There are a
guess,
lot of other fires burning.
I know.
now.
I'm feeling okay now. Feeling pretty
There
good.
still are, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, I know.
Okay, so
I'm
what
looking
I-
forward to hearing
Yeah.
your.
okay, let's see, capital reserves, yeah, one was 93 and one was 94.
Okay.
1993 and 1994, those were the 2 years of those. Our new tax maps are online,
Yep.
thanks to this nice lady over here.
Thank you, sir.
And
Pulled on my hero doing it.
Did you? Okay, but I need to let you know this. You know they sent maps that go in a hanging folder, but they're too big. We could use them for wallpaper.
Yeah, Jen told me that.
So they realized that they got mixed up, and they're gonna resend us maps that will fit. But because of the way their system is, we're probably gonna get another email saying, go online and download the data, the PDF
Oh.
files.
Okay.
Don't reload them, it's the same stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, unless you like practicing it.
That was good practice.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
but,
mean,
I'm not gonna redo the same thing.
no, but I
I'm
mean,
not
there's,
crazy.
there's 16 maps, am I correct, or are there more than 16?
There's 16 maps, and then there's a base map and an index map.
Okay, so
Those two I
18,
have.
call it 20 maps. You can get them printed at any print shop for $3.50 a piece.
Or you could email it to me and I can print.
I don't
24,
need anybody to
36.
print them, they're printing them.
No, they're
Yeah.
printing them for
Oh,
us.
they
that's
print
They
Your
fine.
mistake, they're
print them, yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
No, this is fine, this is fine. And in fact, we're going to look at putting them online along with a different base map that shows the town and the surrounding communities, and you throw layers on top of it.
Mhm.
And we already have our property record cards online, which
Yep.
is good, but we can access that and link it when you're on the lot, click here and bingo, now you got the information.
It's gonna make
Okay.
a perambulate easy.
Yeah. Triangulation.
Are you in for the perambulate, Bert?
No.
Oh.
It doesn't say all the selectmen.
Well, if I get an ATV, I'll go
You
along.
get an ATV. I did a perambulation one time with George Lawrence. We were somewhere over on the Ringe line. And you couldn't walk it. We were in a swamp.
Exactly.
You gotta bring your hip waders, for sure.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you have to be a bloody moose to get
Got
there.
an inflatable canoe on the back.
All right.
Okay, so I think that was the one thing I wanted to bring up. The other is that we have some stuff that involves the school. That there was a gazillion years ago, there was a trust fund set up to help the town pay its school costs. And it was a substantial sum of money back in the days of the little one-room schoolhouses, okay? Well, and it made a big dent. But once we went to a regional school district, nobody knew what to do with it. So it's sitting there.
Okay.
It produces, if I remember correctly, somewhere between $2,500 and $3,000 a year. And we can't just write a check and send it to the school,
Right.
because it's specifically there to offset the cost to the taxpayer of New Ipswich. So we're gonna work something out with the school where we give them the income from the prior year. They report it as a certain type of income, and it gets credited to the town of New Ipswich when the state looks at it. And in effect, it'd be the same as giving the money to the town, but it goes through the
Yeah.
school.
Yeah. That was brought up when I was a selectman a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Have you talked to Benty about that?
Oh, yeah, Becky and I have been
Because
working on it.
he and I both know a lot about that. We both read the will, which is as obscure as hell. And trying to figure out who's supposed to get the money. We finally determined the school was supposed to get that money, but we just didn't know how to convey it.
The way to convey it is and we'll check it out, is the
Yeah.
way you would properly convey a, what do they call it, an impact fee
Okay.
in the schools. John, I can get into that, but if you follow the same pattern, that works.
Yep.
Okay.
And the other question I have is, I understand we overpaid the school.
Yes.
Ballpark, do you know how much?
Well, the actual cash overpayment was 145,000 or 154,000.
Okay.
And then, but they caught it in time where we didn't make the last 3 payments for this past year, like the fiscal year. So we didn't actually overpay those in cash dollars.
There was no overpayment, they just paid up front,
Yeah,
which wasn't planned.
Effectively.
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
but we need to make sure that we can,
Mhm. And there's a file on all of that in that office.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
That's pretty much what I got at the moment.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, so I think we'll reshuffle next week. So we'll take that off this week's agenda and put it on next week's, Sue. And then also, as a part of next week's agenda, we'll be looking to do a site walk of Building 2 at 4:30. And then be back in this office to officially open the meeting
At 5.
at 5, yeah.
Do you want me to print up a couple of signs that say, in case anybody comes, just say that you walk through at your own risk?
I don't think we're inviting the public to this walk.
Well, it's all 3 of the selectmen becomes a public meeting.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're not inviting them per se, but if somebody wants to come on through, they have every right to do so.
It's one of those tricky things, it makes sense, but
Yeah, I'd rather warn everybody off, and I intend to wear a mask myself, but,
I guess the signs, yeah, it'd be good to have signs.
So
Yeah.
Peter's aware. He's joining us, did you say?
He will be.
Peter.
Like, he's coming back tomorrow,
And
so I'll speak to him.
Mark, would Mark as well? or-
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I don't have any objection to the public coming. I'm just like, maybe liability things, but they're all public.
I think if you warn them, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, at the end of the day, it's their building too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm familiar with building
I
too.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
All right. So something I wanted to get to is Mike Pellerito has been hanging out for. He sent me an email at the end of last week as a
That's Michael.
Can you mute, Mike?
Hello, yes.
Your TV's coming through or something. All right. So last Thursday, in reference to the state's vaccination van that they have, and he was looking to see if the select board wanted to work with the school board to bring it to town.
What? The what?
It's a vaccination van, so they can do the mobile vaccinations
Yeah, I don't.
directly from the state. And just, I'll give you a sec, I'll let you speak in a minute. And then he followed up on Monday, that, Rachel also thought that maybe, we could, pose it to the children, like for the children's fair too, like not from the select board, but, so these are two different things that we're looking at. So if you want to expand, Mike?
Yeah, no, I just,
Can you put
I was watching the governor's press conference last week where he was encouraging everybody to get vaccinated. And then and at the same time, they shared their news about a mobile vaccination van that they have coming online. So I just had this idea, yes, I'm on the school board, but this is, I brought the idea to Rachel the same time I brought it to you, Sean. I don't represent the school board here tonight. This is just an idea I'm giving to everyone. We're all, I saw recently the 30% vaccination rate in our town, which concerns me. It concerns me for the school. It concerns me for businesses, for families, and safety, all around. So then, so I just, when I saw the governor, I was like, man, our town supports the governor, by a huge margin, but he wants us to get vaccinated, yet we have a 30% vaccination rate. So I was like, all right, why don't we invite him to town to come here and stand by his van and encourage people to get vaccinated? And that's all the idea I have. So I wrote him an email as a citizen, and I specifically stated in my email, I'm writing you as a citizen. I do serve on the school board, so this is a citizen request that, hey, Mr. Governor, this might be a good idea for you to come and work with your supporters by and large and support your goal to get New Hampshire vaccinated. So that was it, and that's not really a big pitch I have, but it's just based on my concern that we all want everyone to be safe and do the right thing.
Okay. Was that at some cost or that you're aware of?
I don't know yet. Nope. I didn't get any response back from any of the emails I sent, so I don't know. Like I said, how I just relate it was, as a citizen, I just came up with this idea and I said, let's do it. Let's try and get our vaccination rate up to 80-90%. It'll serve our schools. It'll serve our businesses. It'll serve the families of the town. It was just a thought I wanted to push forward, see if it can get some groundswell. So okay. I'll email again to see if I'll keep NewHampshire.gov. I contact the governor, and somebody on his staff is reading the emails, so I'll keep plugging away myself.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Did either one of you guys have any comments that you'd like to add?
Well, I'd like to encourage everybody to vaccinate, and I'm just surprised that people aren't. But realistically, I think everybody who wants to be vaccinated has had an opportunity to be vaccinated. You can walk down to any CVS or Rite Aid and get a free vaccination shot tomorrow. Having a van swing by kind of puts a time frame on things. But again, I've always encouraged people, but the people I've talked to in town just are resistant.
Mm-hmm.
If we did do this, can I just suggest that you pull in the health officer and maybe I can put some info on the webpage.
Okay.
This would just be something that the state would do at the request of a citizen, it sounds like. I agree with Bert. I think there is multiple places to get vaccinated, so I'm not sure
Yeah, if this
if this would.
you know, increase
Do a
the
whole lot.
numbers.
This
Yeah.
is not gonna convince people who have declined.
Mhm.
But
No.
if no harm.
It's not just New Ipswich either. What I read
The
was
picture with the
New
governor.
Ipswich, Greenville, and Mason, that little cluster right there.
Yeah.
So it spills over to the other end. And it's got to be, like you said, people's choice. You can go anywhere and get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Almost any major drugstore now.
Mhm.
Plus you can go over to, you know, your doctor could do it.
Yeah, I mean, the vaccines are now readily available to anybody who wants one. People who have made the choice not to, for whatever reason, probably won't take advantage of it. I don't see any purpose in dragging a van that's just gonna sit in a parking lot for 3 hours and get maybe one or two person.
If a citizen wants to go ahead,
I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I don't have
I
it.
just hate to.
I don't know if the town needs to really get involved.
I don't think we need to get involved. I
Yeah.
think it's, you know, if the governor wants to send it down, come on down, and we'll publicize it. You know, we'll make an announcement that's available, whatever date it comes by, but,
Yeah.
other than that, I don't know what else to do.
Well, I think sometimes if there was a request from a town to have it, you know, like versus just a single citizen, it may carry a little bit more weight
I'm just suggesting
Yeah.
that,
to help
that
like
people
that
won't take
citizen.
advantage of it.
I agree with you, yeah.
Can I also suggest, need to know if there's any liability associated with it?
Well, it's a state-run program, so, you know, I'm sure they cover that end of it. Yeah.
Just giving them a parking lot,
Yeah,
a place to put a banner. They run it.
yeah,
The Bert's right, you know, people make choices. That's their choice to make.
yeah. All right. So, thank you for bringing it to us, Mike. We're open to it, but like we're not gonna actively seek out getting it here, like from our.
No problem.
Yeah. But I will contact Rachel too to speak to her.
Yeah, if you
About
do
it.
have a date, we will announce it publicly.
Mhm.
Sure. Yep, yeah, I was just kicking it up a notch by saying, hey, why doesn't the governor come and stand next to the van? That might get some more people to come for a photo with the governor.
Yeah.
All right, have a great day.
Thank you, Mike. Have a good night.
Bring it to Kimball's and give them a free comb.
Good.
A beer will sell better.
A beer we got back, okay.
All right. What else did I have here? So Craig Reynolds, he's the facilities guy for the schools, had sent an email to the administrator's email, just letting us know that they're remodeling, if you will, the parking areas at Boynton Middle School. He didn't feel like he had to consult with us necessarily, but felt like he just wanted to keep us in the loop, like in the interest of,
Okay.
you know, opening up communications with the schools and what they got going on. And so the attempt is to alleviate the backup onto Turnpike that happens at the end of the school days. So they're working on that.
Is that the way that comes out the backside?
No, the front.
Oh, the front?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, onto Turnpike Road.
Oh, so they're working on that turnpike?
Yeah, somehow they're gonna reconfigure the parking lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always wish the sidewalk made it up to the school.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. And a crosswalk for the kids, maybe?
Yeah.
There's stories about that sidewalk.
Yeah,
It costs us money.
yeah.
Strings.
Hey, Sean, is that something that we would want to put on the news on the website to say that there's maintenance aboard the area at a certain time, anything like that?
No, he didn't give me any type of time frame or anything like that, so
Okay.
it was just
Just a heads
just
up.
letting us know,
Okay.
you know, that they are trying to address that problem. And I believe that's all I have.
Okay. Are you gonna, you obviously gotta give me some keys, but
Yep.
I'm gonna need to be able to get into the admin.
Yeah, I got you a new login, password and everything.
Okay.
That'll give you tonight.
So that's been taken care of, that is?
Yep, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and then also, in general, I had started working with Debbie on cleaning up our emails system. Because there's a lot of unused emails out there, or people that shouldn't be
Right.
like having access to emails. Emails that have been forwarded to different emails that the forwarding's still on. And I don't know, even with your email, for some reason, it was listed, you were listed as an alias for me in the email system. So,
We got some cloning thing going
yeah,
on
so
here.
I don't quite understand it, so I don't know if they like just flipped the email
I think
when I
they
took
probably
it.
did something.
They
It
did
sounds like we just need
incorrectly.
to get organized and do some housekeeping.
Yeah, so yeah, there's some housekeeping going on with the emails, and then also the key fobs and access codes to the buildings. We're going to do a full reboot of that, so
Okay.
that'll be something that you want to talk to Debbie with. Because
Okay.
what we're going to have to do is get a whole new set of key fobs from an AdNoc that have codes on the back. Because right now each fob isn't specifically registered to a user. Like mine may ring up even someone's old name from whenever. And then my access code could be a recycled one from somebody else. So there's been this like mixing and meshing, so we're gonna look to clean that up as well.
To expedite that, because I still can't get into the building.
Yeah, yeah, well, I got a fob I can give you, and a code.
Well, that's fine.
This is a whole list of codes until the reboot
Well,
happens.
that's fine, I'll
Yeah,
pick it
yeah.
up this evening.
Okay, alright. So, that's where that stuff's at. We wanna talk to Deb about that tomorrow. Yeah.
Now, does she have the information for the admin?
No, I have that.
You have that,
Yep,
okay.
yep. Yeah, I'll give that to you after the meeting.
Well, right now it wouldn't be good.
No. No. But also like not handing out master keys to everybody.
Okay, a quick question.
Yeah,
We have centralized file server here.
okay,
Okay, well, I know we do.
Yeah.
Okay. Where do we back things up to?
I don't know.
Okay. That was one of the things on my list to look into. I know we do backups.
Yeah.
But how do we do backups, and that sort of thing? Do we back up off-site?
I believe that the hard drive is in the mailroom,
Yeah?
and Jen swaps it out, so she takes one home with her and leaves one here, and that's the off-site storage.
Oh,
Okay. So, yeah,
I think we should look at that.
yeah, yeah.
okay. She shouldn't have to do that.
No.
Yeah.
She should-
And ideally, we should be able to send something to
To the
a
cloud.
cloud somewhere, and also have a hard copy here
Yeah.
back up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Uh,
Greg should be able to set
You know,
something.
and I will mention this in passing, we have an enormous set of paper files down in the basement that have never, ever been cataloged properly.
Mhm.
And they are back up from 50, 100 years ago for events that took place, such as that will you were talking about earlier. And they're records that are important, so we can track things like that down.
Yeah, there
But
is,
they've never been properly addressed.
there's a records retention statute, and that should be looked at. And if we, I'm gonna guess that somewhere in the building, we must have VHS tapes
You got me.
from when we used to tape meetings.
And then
Maybe
old wire reel voice recordings
I don't
too.
think we go back that far, no. But we used to do VHS.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scott had mentioned one of his ideas was to get a company to come in and do this archiving.
Yeah.
So maybe get this electronically so we can search on it instead of
Yeah,
paper.
yep. Well, that's a good, you should look at
Unfortunately,
that.
It's too pricey.
Is it expensive?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, you're looking probably $1.50 per document to properly catalog it.
So,
Just have them do 5 documents a month. $6 a month, we could.
We'll get to that when we have
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
else done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, something in the future.
Okay. Jay, did you have anything for old new?
Oh, I was tasked with trying to get Megan on the books. My note said, I was asked to formalize the agreement with Megan, and talking with Roger, he said we pretty much can just put her on as an employee. So there is no outside formalizing that would need to be done.
Okay.
So she would be done just as we discussed, $90 a week. So it's
Okay.
that. It's in
So that's for the
works.
cleaning services for the town
For the
office
town
and
yeah.
the police department,
Okay, so you got one person doing both,
correct?
okay.
And Carlene's gonna work, with her, you know,
Yeah.
to get her going, and then,
And then serve as backup as well.
yep.
But there was the contractor walkthrough that I was curious.
The what?
The contractors did the walkthrough, I'm just curious about that.
Oh, yes, oh, sorry. There was something else. Yeah, so we had the, HVAC, pre-bid meeting for the highway department, green center, town office, and fire department. We had 7 contractors come, to that, meeting and walkthrough of the buildings. So it's encouraging, you know, that we had so many people that wanted to engage, like, in that contract.
And was Doug there too?
Yeah, Doug was there. Yeah, he led the meeting, thankfully. Yeah,
Good.
yeah, because
You say Doug
he wrote it up.
Doug
Doug Waite.
Yeah.
Has
Yeah.
volunteered his time for this.
So he's helping sort
He's
it out.
helped.
Yes,
Good, he's
yeah,
good.
immensely.
Not only helped, he spearheaded the whole thing.
Yep. Yeah, he pretty much
He
you
has
know,
done all the work.
took it on fully,
Yeah.
and has done a great job with it.
Mhm.
Very thorough. So,
He set up my house, he did a good job.
so there's August 19th is when those bids are due.
And this is for next year's budget, or do you have
No,
money
this-
for it now?
So we're gonna be looked to, and this is what I explained to the contractors, was depending on pricing, we might be able to like address all of that. But the major focus is the fire department, because the furnace actually, you know, broke down for about a week
Okay.
over the winter. So we need to get that replaced before, winter hits
So
this
what
year.
we're looking at is a program, work our way through. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's not one system because we're scattered all over. but-
Yeah,
Yeah, we have, in the emails,
yep,
Doug did a whole scope of work.
Okay,
based off of an energy audit that was done of the 3 buildings.
Probably have it here, you haven't seen that.
you know, it's something I knew you had something out about it, I saw it. I subscribe to minutes.
Yeah.
Or agendas and things like that. And so I did see it at one time. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
and I understood that, I didn't read that, but I knew you were looking at it.
Yep,
So we're hoping to get that done.
The other parallel to that, did we ever do anything about energy efficient streetlights?
yes, they're all LEDs.
Are they now?
Yep,
Oh,
Yeah, geez,
And that was
110
that.
of them, I believe.
I don't know.
yeah, minimal, upfront cost, and then the savings is gonna come within a 2-year period, like where we'll actually be,
Yeah, because I did one place, and I had savings within months.
mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
I was
tremendous.
taking out 100-watt light bulbs,
Oh, jeez.
screwed in, you know, to something that looked like a metal hat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the problem was, you put a 20-watt, I think it was a 20-watt LED in there, and you had the neighbor complaining it's shining in the bedroom window.
That's too bright.
So it's too bright. Okay, I knew that was on the burner a while ago, but I didn't
Yeah,
follow it that
that's been
closely.
completed.
Yep.
Though I don't know if all the paperwork end of things has been completed.
Right.
We have-
Adequately.
Last I saw was a draft of the,
Yeah,
bids.
well, I didn't know if there was anything on it, because my understanding of it was that the contractor, that we hired to do it was taking care of all the paperwork. But I don't know if there was something lingering, like, that
Is
needed to
Eversource involved?
They were,
Yeah,
oh,
okay.
you're talking the lights stuff.
yeah, the lights, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, just keep that, just in case something comes, looking, like, look for a signature or something.
I got a couple of things.
You do? Okay.
Yep.
What do you got, Bert?
You asked me to look at loaders. Surprise, surprise, it costs a town roughly between $48,000 and $55,000 a year to own a loader, surprisingly enough. Just if you buy it new or if you buy it used.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to matter. That's what it's gonna cost. Some of the maintenance gets deferred if you buy it new, and then, you're playing with depreciation. But I need to get some numbers from Peter before I finalize the spreadsheet on it. But it just doesn't seem to matter. It's just gonna cost a fortune.
Okay.
The other thing, a couple other things I wanted to talk about was ethics because of Jim Coffey's hiring and holding multiple positions, whether they be elected or appointed. Noticed that Wilton here was doing an ethics review about one selectman who happens to hold 3 elected positions in town, and whether or not we wanted to discuss how many positions a person should have, not just liaisons or things that are approved by the RSA, but there's a problem with, I think, putting too much on any one person.
Mhm.
But we might want to think about that.
Okay.
Yeah, just a thought. We got too many other fires to put out. The other thing I wanted to talk about was dress code. We don't have one, but appearances matter, and this board is the face of the town. Take it for what you're worth. There are people on the street who've been mentioning us being on television and what we look like.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Thank you. All right. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Have nothing else?
How was it left with the residents who came in regarding the speed limit on Turnpike Road?
So we're gonna look into it, see what we had to do with the state, like about reducing that, like if there's some type of survey that needs to be done, but I think Peter would be the one to make that communication.
We wait for him to get back to weigh in.
Mhm.
60 miles an hour.
Whereabouts were they concerned?
Yeah, right.
What's that?
Whereabouts were they concerned?
Between the fire department and the 50-mile-an-hour zone that lasts for what, a half a mile? A mile?
Yeah, there's a slowdown.
Between the fire department and Mill Street.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
the mini speedway.
So they came and asked. They said they asked the state, and the state said they would wait for the town to request any changes in speed limits.
Yeah, I think we agreed that maybe 35 for the entire strip would be appropriate.
Mhm.
Or 40.
It's when you start changing things.
Did I hear you say 75
That's
earlier?
crazy.
Yeah, well, I pull every street sign off and let, you know, just. people
Pass
go.
at own risk?
Pass at own risk.
Alright,
You
yeah,
ever
so I don't
ride a
have anything
bicycle
else.
around here?
What?
You ever ride a bicycle
Well, if I
around
could
here?
help it.
You wanna go through the manifest now?
Yep.
You guys all set with official?
Fish business.
Yeah.
Susan, I forgot, is that Conservation Commission payment in this manifest, or was it
Uh,
to be done?
That one.
I know you showed it to me.
That one we're
Yeah,
gonna look at tomorrow.
yeah, we'll look at that tomorrow.
But I do have one that I'd like to talk to these guys about.
Okay.
For a laptop for the building inspector, but we don't have money in the budget, so what do we do?
That was that, you had brought that up to me yesterday, right? Or the day before?
The laptop?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and then I asked if there was money in the budget for it.
Yeah. Thank you for it.
Yeah.
There is not money in the building department budget, even if without touching the salary, everything, we have general supplies, subscription fees, the cell phone, postage, I mean, there's really not money.
Okay. Alright, so let us get like the accounting stuff under control and then we'll take a look at it.
Okay.
We gotta find out where we're at first. Oh, this one's kinda cool. There's a 20th anniversary memorial of September 11th, and over at the Cathedral of the Pines. So far, there's a state trooper, a couple senators, and Jaffrey Fire, Police, Ambulance Departments, nurses from Nanac Hospital, Boy Scouts, and they're asking if New Ipswich wanted to be represented, like at that ceremony as well.
Nice.
Is there a special kind of mowing that has to take place in the landfill?
Special
Does the
mowing?
DPW do any mowing, or?
I don't think so.
Oh, they don't
Are you talking about landfill mowing?
have. Yeah.
That's tricky. That's a steep slope.
Is it?
Yeah, I think that's contract.
Yeah, it is, right here, it's in there, manifesting like.
Some of those, they use the same type of mowers they use on ski slopes.
On the arm.
I'm not sure what they look like, but, so they don't tip over and roll down the hill. Because that is a steep.
Oh, yeah.
Naturally, the Xfinity one's not a part of that.
Wasn't one of the items that was talked about for incentives for hiring was disability? It looks like we do an Aflac, is that the same thing? Are we paying?
Yeah. So,
So it might
but the people
something-
are listed right there, I think, on that sheet. The
Oh, so it is going through the town?
yeah, but we might, I don't know who we offer that to exactly. So this is instead of a copy of that other form. Here, Jay. That's the.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
So what's this for, Bert? Is this
Just for the select,
for the select board?
yeah, they just need some contact information. That has nothing to do with anything real. Yeah, I gave Roger more stuff, so.
Okay.
No, I just don't remember about the dam, whether or not we're responsible for the maintenance.
Oh, the stuff you're getting about dams?
Yeah.
It's nice to know, especially if you live downstream, but they're not ours.
Yeah, I didn't think we were supposed to be doing it,
Mhm.
but this
Yeah.
seems to indicate,
Is that for the Smithfield room?
yeah,
Because you had talked about the cemetery last week. so-
right.
Because that's a. part
But
of
see,
it.
this is the most recent correspondence from the state, July 9th of this year.
Now, who'd they address it to?
Corey Clark, Chief of Engineering, Construction Engineer.
So that's who it's addressed
So I
to.
guess they're supposed to be implementing that.
DES is going out, inspecting dams, and then basically sending a letter to another part of DES that you need to fix this.
And they CC the town and the website.
Yeah, all right, so
Yeah.
as long as we don't have to do the work.
I mean, we certainly want to know if something was in imminent danger of collapse, but I don't think we have anything that would
As
present
long as
a
I'm
huge
not one of the
problem.
90 houses.
I don't
that
know,
are
we were
in
supposed to have a
imminent
drought this
danger.
summer and we've had, weeks of rain.
I finally got a lawn.
I got too much lawn.
I live on an aquifer, I've got a great pond.
Yeah. And, I expected we'd have complaints about wells drying up this summer. Everybody's got plenty of water.
That's a blessing, yeah.
I used to have a koi pond, I now have a frog pond.
Less-
It's cool.
less
I mean,
maintenance.
the frogs are much more fun than the fish. I don't have to feed them.
Why is this coming back to us?
No, like the check should be in that run.
Oh.
That's, yeah.
And you leave Jason here, and he just keeps reading through it, and you're all gone, and he's just watching how this flows.
Well, there's
I've been
usually
waiting
more-
for this day that Sean has granted us time to do this.
Yeah, yeah, not.
When I
not
first came
hurried.
on, it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
allowed, whatever. Just to try and get a handle on it, because that's a lot of
So that and then if we have any questions, we ask the questions in open session, and
Right.
Yeah. Paperwork we generate.
Mm. This is one of the lightest payables run that I've seen yet, so there must be with, you may have to approve some other ones, or I suspect, because I've never seen the payables folded that light before.
Yeah, I talked to Roger, he said, obviously payroll you do weekly,
Yep.
but weekly when he's here, he does accounts payable. Sometimes if he's off, then it might get, payables might get missed, might be held up for a week.
But I don't know if the first step is the approval from the administrator. You know what I mean? You like to sign off and then to give them.
Yeah, the administrator signs off. I kind of got the impression from him that if it was highway department, the highway department foreman signed off and it went right to him.
Okay.
Okay? I didn't know if it went through the administrator to look at it also, or if it went from a major department heads. And it was sort of like the administrator got miscellaneous.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
See, that's part of the problem is we don't have any protocol in place.
Well, we can fix that.
Yeah.
And it should be that if the funds are readily available, the department head signs off on them, unless it's like a major purchase of a loader or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you're talking a $20,000 or $30,000 expenditure, yeah, let's all talk about it a little bit.
Yeah.
But if it's a $20 price tag, we shouldn't even bother with it.
We're replacing a tire, okay? Okay, we're gonna fix the tire, okay? But if we're replacing the whole vehicle, well, that's another story.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Somewhere in between,
Yeah, but we need some sort of dividing line.
we can come up with it, yeah.
So what's your proposed dress code?
Look nice.
Did I look nice enough tonight?
Did you?
Yeah. Do I? No? What do you think? That's what I mean.
I think you look nice enough.
Thank you. To the planning board meeting last week, I think I had like sleeveless, like I came right from work. It's like running in the building just to be here, all dirty and filthy.
What would you propose?
That's what I'm asking.
Button-down shirt,
I-
minimum. Is that what you're saying?
See, I'd suggest that. I mean, depends.
I'm not wearing Depends.
No,
Not yet.
No, I'm not suggesting.
Not yet.
But
Getting there, though.
it's. I have been to places where everything was suit coat tie.
Mm-hmm.
Period. You don't even show up with a suit coat tie.
Yep.
And quite honestly, I'm probably the most egregious offender in the world. I would choose comfort over style any day of the week. But the problem is, this office has to put a face on it. And this is New Ipswich,
Which is a blue-collar town.
which is a blue-collar town, but still, we're trying to elevate
The blue collar?
the blue collars, the rednecks.
Yeah, but we're all people in the $100 million. Well, not half, but
That may be.
a big chunk of them.
There's a good amount
Hard work and
there's a good amount of money running around this town,
Yep.
and it's hidden. But, yeah, I mean, you know,
well, it should be.
it should be, we are the face of the town.
Mhm.
Simple as that.
And I don't believe clothes makes the man.
I don't believe that either, but appearances do make a difference.
Mhm.
And people judge you on appearances, and that's their first impression.
Oh, that's a sad thing.
It's the truth,
Yep.
absolute truth.
Yep.
And the paperwork to sign, I feel like last week I gave you guys fireworks permits and didn't get them back. Does that ring a bell? You didn't come
They would have been
across
in these folders
Okay.
here.
Maybe I imagined it.
Did you get the fireworks permit that I had left on your desk? I think
Was it
probably Wednesday, Thursday.
Was it all signed?
No, it needed to be forwarded to Meredith, because they
Oh.
emailed to her.
Maybe that's, because she sent me one that said she approved by mail. So it would have been, I would have stapled the email to the permit.
Like recently, or?
I thought I gave it to you guys last week, but maybe I didn't. I'll double check.
Because I left one on your desk with $15 cash and a note on it to email it to.
Let me check on my books.
There's another person that's taking on many duties and roles and helping out, so overtaxed.
Of everybody.
Yep.
The cash rang a bell.
All right. Cool.
I'm not paying you to sign it.
Cool.
Yeah. Camera's another one that we talked about.
But you want to increase the limits?
To get rid of it. Have they had your house shake because they blow something up?
Oh yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah, they don't need a permit for the tannery.
I know.
Okay, it's fireworks permit.
Maybe you should make a permit for the tannery, and
Uh,
then the town will make
Well,
some more money.
what is it, Antrim is getting rid of, saying no tannerite? One of the towns is, or an ordinance.
I say give them a permit and make some money off it.
You want to blow stuff up? Let them.
Some of those things can be, they can shake a few things.
Well, stuff's dangerous, people can get hurt using that stuff.
What is that, the Darwin theory though?
What?
It's the
Yeah.
Darwin, the Darwin theory. They
People can get hurt
take care of themselves.
getting out of bed in the morning.
I know. My dog sleeps right at the foot of
And
the bed.
that just-
I trip off him.
So what well, no, let's just go to Sue. So what happens with those now? Do you
What I do
let the
is
people know, or?
I make copies, I'll make copies for Meredith and, Mike, so
Mhm.
that they know it's coming up. And then I call the people and, this one has to pay, this one already paid.
Okay.
Here's the minutes she gave us.
I got a carbide can. I don't need a permit for that.
No, and you're not likely to blow your fingers off with a carbide can.
But they make a lot of noise.
Oh, they do, they're very loud.
Yeah.
But they don't shake the house or anything like
No,
that.
no. Big flasher, I got the biggest one I could find. Had it for years.
Yeah.
But I got a dog that goes nuts in thunderstorms and gunshots and everything else, so I can't fire the thing. It just sits in the garage on a nice pedestal looking good.
This was in last.
Oh.
Auditor's report will be due late due to COVID. It's in our
Or
minutes.
because you don't approve it. Jeez. Oh, man.
We're not laughing at your minute.
No,
taking.
no, it's
We're
not, no.
laughing at
Okay.
a fact that's
Yeah.
in the minute.
Yeah,
takings.
the excuses that were given that are being, found out that they weren't.
However.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
I think I know where you're
Do
going.
we have any COVID fatalities in town? Does
Yes,
anyone know? I never
I
saw
don't
it.
know.
yes, there were several.
Was there several?
Problem is the way a lot of the COVID fatalities were accounted for. Even if a person had a heart condition and got COVID, they considered it a COVID fatality, which is kind of like double accounting.
Right, I've actually heard in some places where there was a car accident, somebody got killed and had COVID.
Yeah,
And then they can't collect the insurance sometimes because their insurance only said if you die in an accident,
yeah.
you don't get covered.
COVID's an act of God.
Yeah.
So, off COVID, in these minutes, there's a note about the Annette State Forest timber harvest. And there's a question, if we should have a bond in place, because we're looking at delaying doing the top coat on Hubbard Pond Road because
Right.
of the heavy traffic. So if they're degrading the road, shouldn't they pay for the repairs to the road? And I don't know where that would start.
If they do something to the road, they need to leave the road in the same condition they found it,
Mhm.
okay? And one way to protect yourself is, and I've done it years ago, videotape the road, okay? Do a video of the road, all the way down to where it comes out to the state road,
Mhm.
okay? The state's responsible for the cut, right? So it's a state forest,
Yep.
okay? I'm not sure what the rules are right now.
Because I had a fresh base coat on it
I'm not
last
sure-
year.
I'm not sure about bonding on the roads at this point.
Yeah.
Uh,
And would you get a bond from the state, or like, is that like a practice that's had, or?
Have they started this logging?
You gotta be very careful about logging, because it is protected by RSA's all over the place. And the tasks or the things they can do under a logging permit are very wide.
Oh, yeah, you
Huge.
can't, the selectmen can't shut down a logging.
No, you can't touch it, neither can the planning board. I mean, it is,
They have zero on logging.
right, the logging operations are totally regulated statewide, not by towns.
But if you get to the right state agency and the right person, they can shut something down real quick.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, here the Board of Assessors are the ones that get involved with logging because of taxes,
Ah, okay.
okay? And they can only ask for a bond there's certain conditions, none of which are roads. The interesting thing about this operation, they're cutting trees in another town.
Is there also a gravel pit?
Huh?
Is there also a gravel pit at the end of that road?
Yeah, Garopolis.
Is that in our?
That's in our town.
Yeah,
in
that's
our-
monitored by the planning board.
Yeah, and planning boards oversee gravel pits. It's one of the few things that they do actually have authority over the operation of it.
Yep.
Usually the selectmen are the enforcers.
Yeah.
But that state forest is in Taunton and Whistler.
Mhm.
So they're bringing it out
Thank you.
on our road because it's a nice way to drive, okay? They could go the other way,
Go
Yeah.
through Wrench.
yeah. And into Jaffrey or wherever the thing comes out.
Yeah, the planning board's been inspecting gravel pits yearly, so they're kind of on top of that.
There's definitely a sign line on that one,
Yeah.
signature line. So those sets were before you.
Yep, I can't sign that one. Can't sign that one.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good evening.